Hey, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking through some more Reddit build a PC, or like going through Reddit. There's always really good questions here. So let's get started. Okay, this first one that I wanted to look at was this one. And they're saying, what's the best AM4 CPU available right now? They've been out of the loop and essentially they have come into money. Well, I'm assuming that means a job, hopefully. And they currently have Ryzen 3700X 8 core. This is like a really difficult question. And when people ask me about CPUs, I always ask them what they want to do with it, whether that be gaming, productivity, but then also what kind of resolutions are we talking? If we're talking gaming, are we talking 1440p? Are we talking 4K? Are we talking 1080p? But what to determine from that also is what kind of games were we talking about. So in the case of this 3700X 8 core, you could bump up to a X3D, kind of like what this first comment is talking about. The X3D chips are kind of the best in the market for gaming. They see a pretty large uplift as far as gaming go with that X3D. It just gives them a little bit more memory on the chip itself. As far as AM4 goes, that's pretty much the best bang for the buck without blowing your wallet, because there are some 16 core chips out there, but you're not really gaining anything unless you're strictly looking for some productivity. Okay, this next one is a very questionable one, and I don't generally like to weigh in too far on these ones, but I have gotten asked the question recently, and so I figured I'd address the same way that I've been addressing it with those people that have asked me. So essentially, this person was looking at building a PC, and they're thinking about building a DDR4 in order to avoid the price hike that are with DDR5. It is ridiculous as far as DDR5 goes. I would highly suggest, if possible, waiting. So for this person, they are trying to decide whether or not they wait 6 months to build their PC. Do they build it now, wait 6 months? At this point, I would say that it's really difficult depending on your situation. If you personally are looking for a PC in order to get into gaming, but you have like a console, I would suggest sticking with your console a little bit longer and seeing what you can get. As far as DDR4 goes, you're essentially buying something that's already obsolete. Not saying that that's bad. It just means that as soon as you upgrade your platform, you can't carry that forward. I really like DDR5 because it's brand new. Well, it's not brand new, but it's been around for a bit and a lot of platforms support it. The other thing I would suggest in this situation is buying on the lower end. So say that you're going to build your system and you want to be at 32 gigs of DDR5, I would suggest getting 16 gigs of DDR5 at this point, planning to upgrade in the future in order to get that additional memory. But right now, the second, I wouldn't be pushing too hard for that. It's really difficult saying waiting. The only thing you can do is look at the situation today, determine how much money do I have and what does that buy me, and does that buy me what I want? Okay, and the final question we're going to be talking about is, will a Ryzen 5 5600 be fine with an RTX 5070? For this, the person is upgrading from a 3060 to a 5070, and they're questioning whether or not they need to upgrade their CPU. They did call out that they're going to be playing 1440p. The question I'd have at this point is, what games are we talking about? If we are looking for something that is heavy in CPU, then of course you're going to need to update it and get something with a little bit more horsepower. But the 5700X or 5600 is a solid CPU. It's really one of those things of like, what's the worst case scenario? You end up putting your 5700 in there or your 5070 in there, and then you run and you see, okay, well, actually in this game, I'm not getting enough frames and my CPU is limited. But my guess is that this person is actually probably going to put it in, see the performance gain, free up some of that, and still be probably GPU limited. A lot of the newer games, they have so many textures that are beautiful and they look amazing, but you actually are not hitting your CPU super hard. If you're playing like things like Civ, that can eat up your CPU really fast. If you're playing City Skylines or any of those city builders, anything that are really complex, those can really eat up the CPU. But in this case, what's the worst thing you can happen? Put the 5070 in there, see what you get on the games you want. On a Reddit post like this, if you're going to post something, list out what games you want to play and what kind of frame rates you're looking at. If 30 frames is acceptable for the game, if you're playing Civ or you're playing, I don't know, Age of Empires, if you're playing a really old game, or, a top-down RTS style game, 30 frames isn't the end of the world. Or if you're playing something really old like League or CS2, all those sorts of games are going to be able to handle that, and you're probably going to be fine. You're probably going to outperform your monitor at that point. Thanks for tuning in for this episode of Reddit Build a PC. If you have any questions, post them down below, and maybe we'll just bring those up in the next one of these instead of looking at Reddit. Have a good one.